how's everyone? We're back. Got some more Necrobarista. I'm gonna be continuing that. I have a lot more drink this time, so hopefully my throat shouldn't be as dry while reading this stuff, but yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. I've just been doing a bit of like personal stuff. Been drawing a lot. I do want to get a thing posted sometime this month, maybe within the week. You know, it depends on how fast I finish it, but yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and switch things over so we can get into this. And as we left off, we were in this little like in-between section in the main story. I think we were going to read this, but then I ended up stopping because it was dry, so let's just do that real quick. Ashley stepped behind the counter and winced as the floor creaked under her feet. Maddie was nowhere to be seen, but Maddie did possess a remarkably sharp sense of hearing. Luckily, the cafe was empty as Ashley tiptoed to the case where Maddie kept the baked goods. Ashley lifted the glass lid off the case and closed her eyes as the scent of yesterday's lamingtons wafted up and overwhelmed her. Ashley had spent most of her life convinced that she didn't like coconuts, then changed the day that Shay introduced her to lamingtons. To be fair, Ashley still wasn't sure that she actually liked coconut. Chocolate frosting can make anything taste good, but she couldn't deny the cake's irresistible allure. Ashley lifted a lamington from the case and gently set the lid back down. She raised the lamington to her lips and opened her mouth to take a bite. Ashley? In a moment of panic, Ashley shoved the pastry into her mouth and sealed her lips. Her mouth was quickly overwhelmed by the pastry's thick frosting covering. She did her best to choke it down before turning to face Maddie. Said Ashley, hoping that her cheeks didn't betray what was inside. Ah, good, you're here, said Maddie. It was a bad sign anytime Maddie expressed pleasure at seeing Ashley. Not only Maddie wavered between being annoyed by Ashley's presence and being indifferently tolerant of her. Anytime Maddie was happy to see Ashley, it meant work. I need you to deliver something to Shay for me, said Maddie, turning to the counter to pick up a small bottle of something. Maddie turned her attention to the bottle. Ashley took advantage of her momentary distraction to gulp down the remainder of the pastry. No time to chew, but her teeth wouldn't have done much good. Thick frosting. You're not busy, are you? Said Maddie. Ashley shook her head no. The pastry was no longer inside her mouth to create conspicuous bowls of cheeks, but opening her mouth would reveal the thick chocolate frosting still probably present on her teeth, so she kept her lips sealed. Good, said Maddie. It's upstairs. Get this to him ASAP. She handed the bottle to Ashley, and Ashley found herself surprised by how light the bottle was. Looking down, she could see that the bottle had thin walls. Within those thin walls, it contained some clear liquid, and the seal was held in place with a metal clamp, hermetically sealed. Ashley turned towards the stairs, holding the neck of the bottle in one hand, and let out a sigh. One last thing! Ashley swallowed her sigh with a gulp and closed her mouth before facing Maddie, lips tightly shut. Be careful not to drop it, said Maddie. Thousands could die if you spill any of it. In any other situation, Ashley would have asked Maddie a probing question to figure out what was in the bottle, to get some idea of the significance of the task that had been assigned to her. Significant enough that thousands of lives held in balance, but apparently not important enough for Maddie to do it herself. But Ashley's lips remained sealed, and she merely nodded and turned around. Lamingtons were not meant to be consumed in a single bite, especially by mouths as small as Ashley's, and the thickness of the frosting that lingered in her mouth and throat made her desperate to ask for some kind of drink. She dared not ask for one. Ashley looked down at the bottle, unsure of the best way to carry it. The bottle was slightly too large for her to hold in just one hand, and grasping it in front of her with two hands felt awkward. The bottle wasn't heavy, but Ashley's confidence in her ability to carry the bottle without dropping it was less than perfect. Should she cradle it under her arm protectively? No, this seemed like it would put her at greater risk of fumbling the bottle. The grip of her elbow wasn't as dexterous as her fingertips. She settled for carrying the bottle with one hand, placed it on the bottom to hold the weight, and the other hand wrapped around the neck to steady it. Ashley walked slow with the bottle as she ascended the stairs. Maddie had told her that the liquor was volatile, and the bottle was hermetically sealed, so there was zero chance of anything spilling out, but that didn't change the sense of trepidation Ashley felt. And with the knowledge that there were potentially thousands of lives at stake, she cringed every time she saw the liquid sloshing inside the bottle, leaping up and laughing at the edge of the seal. As she realized her arms were shaking and pressed the bottle against her chest, hoping to steady it. As Ashley's hand shook nervously with the bottle held against her chest, she wondered if the large amount of sugar she had was forced down her throat had something to do with the shaking. It's more likely that her shaking was the result of being told that thousands of lives could be lost if she dropped the bottle, though the lingering taste of the pastry in her mouth didn't help. Whew. Ashley silently lamented the fact that she had been forced to consume the lamington so abruptly. Lamingtons were a treat to be savored, not shoved into one's mouth in a moment of panic. She hadn't even the chance to properly enjoy it. It was hard to simultaneously feel the pleasure of a tasty treat and the panic of being caught. Whatever the outcome of this errand, she had wasted a wonderful pastry. Several agonizing minutes later, Ashley arrived at the top of the stairs and spotted Shay standing at the handrail. She walked up, Shay turned to face her. She presented him with the bottle. Ashley cleared her throat of any lingering stickiness before speaking. Maddie said you needed this. Good, said Shay. I was running low. Ashley gasped with relief as Shay took the bottle from her and started taking deep, labored breaths, suddenly becoming aware of how high her heart rate was. Shay popped open the seal on the bottle and splashed some of it onto a rag. The drops dripped down to the floor, and Ashley let out a terrified squeak. Something wrong? Said Shay. Maddie said that thousands of lives could be destroyed by what's in that bottle. Well, that's the idea, said Shay, as he folded the rag and ran along the railing that overlooked the cafe's ground level. This is supposed to kill 99.9% of all bacteria. Still leaves hundreds of bacteria alive, but I try not to think too hard about that part. Ashley's jaw dropped. It's disinfectant? Yeah, said Shay. Why did Maddie not tell you? She's shoulders slumped in a mix of relief and exasperation. She only told me that it could kill thousands. You didn't ask what she meant by that? No, said Ashley. I was preoccupied. Huh, said Shay. He turned his attention back to the railing, inspecting it for a moment before continuing to wipe it. Ashley turned to head back downstairs. By the way, Ashley turned to face Shay. He reached down and placed a finger on her shirt. Wiping off a bit of the frosting. He raised it to his finger and smelled it. Chocolate? He said. Yeah, said Ashley. One of Maddie's lamingtons. Yes, said Ashley. Then on licked the frosting off his finger. Go downstairs and bring one up for me too, will you? Oh, that... They have like a sibling relationship. So cool. Oh, what's this? Advisory something. Advisory roll, I guess. Quick sip. Maddie was washing her hands when Ashley poked her head around the corner. Here to confess something or here to ask for something, thought Maddie to herself as she dried her hands and turned to face the girl. The grin on Ashley's face confirmed that it was the latter. Maddie arched an eyebrow and turned to the coffee grinder. Ashley stepped around the corner and stood close enough for Maddie to occupy her field of view. Every time Maddie turned, Ashley again repositioned herself. She was waiting for Maddie to notice her. After a minute, Maddie decided that having Ashley hovering around her was more distracting than indulging whatever it was she wanted to talk about. What do you need, Ashley? I don't need anything, said Ashley. But now that you mention needing things, I think you might need something. Such as an advisor. Ashley smiled triumphantly as she delivered the word. What would I need an advisor for? To advise you, of course, said Ashley. I suppose you have a suggestion for who I should take on as an advisor? Well, said Ashley, now that you mention it, I'm not too busy. I could be your advisor. Because you're an expert on advising. That's what an advisor needs to know about. What makes you an expert on advising? I've been learning a lot about advisors, said Ashley. They get to help make important decisions, and then the person they're advising has to take responsibility for them. That's why I'd make a good advisor. Because you don't want to take responsibility for your actions. I take responsibility for my advice. But if someone follows my advice, then that's their decision and their responsibility. Duh. I don't think I need an advisor, said Maddie. Oh, you do, said Ashley. Aren't you always complaining about how busy you are? Yes, said Maddie. So busy that I don't have time. So busy that I don't have time to have extra counseling sessions with you. I'm not going to be your counselor, Maddie. I'm going to be your advisor. The difference being, a counselor counsels and an advisor advises. Of course, said Maddie. Busy people always seem to have advisors, said Ashley. Prime Minister has advisors, presidents too. All the most important people have advisors. Their advisors tend to be more experienced than they are, said Maddie. Advice travels from those who have it to those who need it. Well, I'm doing fine, so I don't need advising, said Ashley. But you could do with some advising, and I'd be happy to give you all the advice I got. Plus, you're more important than I am. You're kind of like the Prime Minister of the Terminal, or the President of the Terminal, or whatever. You're the kind of person who needs advisors. I see, said Maddie. So am I hired? You already have a lot on your plate, I'm sure, said Maddie. Nope, said Ashley. I've got lots of time free. In that case, you have time to wash these dishes for me, said Maddie, tossing a drying rag to Ashley. Let me know when you're done. Wait, said Ashley. I'm only free to advise. I'm physically fatigued from a long day of work. My mind has extra processing power. I can only help you if it's by advising. Well, advising has physical responsibilities associated with it, right? Said Maddie. And sometimes an advisor will go to places to get important information. I guess so, said Ashley. I can do anything that relates to giving you information. In that case, advisor Ashley, I need you to give me a report on which of these plates looks best when sparkling clean. They're all dirty right now. Exactly. Time for you to do some investigative research. See ya. That one's good. Ashley really is like the little sister of the group. Oh, computer. Maddie's inbox. Oh, jeez. Ooh. From Jeanette Annette, queenbee19@yahoo.com. Subject Spirit Beacon leaking. Date January 25, 2014. 7:58 a.m. To admin@terminalvelocity.org. Hi Madeline, this is Jeanette from the location down by the docks. I believe we met in person for the first time last month. I was opening up this morning and noticed that most of our spirit juice was gone. Checked the map and saw that you're the nearest location with a spirit beacon. I think you might have drained some of our supply. Honest mistake, I'm sure. If you could stop running your spirit beacon during peak hours, that would be much appreciated. Thanks and looking forward to working with you in the future. Jeanette. Jeanette Annette. Subject read, spirit beacon leaking. January 28th, 1:59 p.m. Hi Madeline. Hope you got my previous message. Just wanted to give an update on the spirit juice situation over here. The bottles that I marked last night just confirmed the issue, and when I got in this morning, levels were below where I marked them. We're definitely losing spirit juice, and you're the only spirit beacon close enough to be affecting us. Please modulate your use to reasonable levels. I don't think this should be a problem as long as you're not running your beacon overnight. Again, not trying to assign blame here, but please be considerate to folks at other locations. Thanks, Jeanette. Another one, January 31st, 7:37. Ooh, Madeline, we're draining spirit juice over here so fast that if I sit and watch, I can see it disappearing from the bottle. The only spirit beacon that is even remotely close to where we are, so we really need you to stop. If it's affecting us, then it's probably affecting other locations. This is completely unacceptable. Fix this now, Jeanette. And another one, February 1st, 7:37. Hey Madeline, could you explain why you weren't at the terminal today when I showed up? Spoke with a girl named Ashley. Felt wrong. It said you decided to take the day off. What a coincidence. I was not impressed by the crying routine you had her do. Also, you should be ashamed of using a child's fake tutors to try and hide from a situation that you caused. Turn off your beacon. I don't want to be the bad guy here, but if you don't do something, I'm going to have to get the council involved. Clarence from at yahoo.com, misplaced cutlery. February 8th, 2014, 5:34. Hey Maddie, this is Clarence from the docks locations. Wanted to give you a heads up. This morning we found out the site manager we recently hired, I believe you might met Jeanette last month, was leaving spirit juice in tempered glass bottles, and we had a bit of a leak. We ended up having a bit of problem with some animated cutlery. We have the situation under control over here, and we're mostly sure everything is accounted for on our end. This started happening about a week ago, which might be enough for something to wander off far enough we wouldn't be able to detect it. Very unlikely that this happened. Just wanted to give you a heads up in case a possessed steak knife wandered off far enough to find your beacon and decides to pay you a visit. Sorry about the situation. Rest assured that the person responsible for this won't have any opportunities to mess up anything of this magnitude again. By the way, are you planning on going to M's birthday next month? Regards, Clance. Whew. From Maddie Zhao. Zhao? I'm gonna say Maddie Zhao. I don't know if that's right. Misplaced cutlery. Hi Clance, sorry I missed your message earlier. No longer use this address. Please use contact@terminalvelocity.org for anything related to terminal business. Hope you enjoyed M's birthday party. I don't remember why I couldn't attend, but I'm sure it was a good reason. Maddie. Alright. Anything else around here? Anything right here? Keep the balance. Man, there's a lot there's a lot in this one. And the quick sip. You're overdue this week, said Ned. Tap the list of rules that Maddie kept posted by the door. This 24-hour rule. You sure you've been enforcing it? I think how we run things around here is none of your business, said Maddie. Actually, it absolutely is my business, said Ned. In fact, keeping the rules is basically my only business. Kind of what the word enforcer means. I'm supposed to scold you for breaking the rules. So audit me. Fine, said Ned. Let me check your ledger. We don't keep a ledger, said Maddie. Maybe you should, said Ned. Lots of places do. It's a great system. You have someone stand at the door and have them mark down whenever someone comes in or leaves. And you forcibly evict people who are overstaying their welcome. I'm amazed that you don't have a system like that in place. Some people overstay their welcome, other people understay it, said Shay. No need to strictly keep track of how long people stay, right? Just maintain the balance. You're right, said Ned. All that matters is maintaining the balance. And maintain the balance, because when you don't, then we have a problem. We're a bit short-staffed to have someone acting as a full-time doorman, said Maddie. Figure it out, said Ned. Tap the board listing the rules. In 24 hours to 23 hours. When you say 24 hours, people think you just colloquially mean one day and they don't pay attention to the specific time. When you say 23 hours, people actually have to keep track of what time it is. That would be fine, said Shay, except for the part where you're cutting time of people's stay. Trust me, said Ned. Anyone who would go right up to the limit is probably going to go over it. 3 hours is going to be 23 hours plus an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour plus however long it's taken to finish their drink. If they leave in less than 24 hours, who gives a crap? I give a crap, said Shay. You're right, you should give a crap, said Ned. In fact, you should celebrate whenever you manage to scooch someone out of here in under 24 hours. If the balance is upset and you've got to correct it. You can either correct the balance 1 hour at a time, or the council can come in here and repossess some souls. Or we can find someone who knows how to manage this property responsibly. You turned to Shay. Come on, buddy. I don't want to have to take this place away from you. That would be quite the escalation, said Maddie. Well, you're already on the first level of escalation, which is stern talking to, said Ned. Try not to escalate it any further. Shay sighed. Maddie cut him off. Change the rule to 23 hours, okay? Buzz off. Wow, really? Said Ned. Well, okay then. While you're rewriting the signs, you should also take the green tea frappuccino off the menu. Frap should be for coffee, not tea. Done, said Maddie. Wait, really? Said Ned. Dang, I didn't realize you were so open to feedback. Also that caramel. We'll take it under advisement, said Maddie, placing a hand on Ned's chest and physically pushing him towards the door. Hold up, said Ned. What are you doing? Moving an unwanted guest, said Maddie. I need to practice if we're going to start enforcing those rules you care so much about. No, I said Ned as he continued backpedaling to stay upright. Look, you could just... Bye, said Maddie as Ned crossed the threshold out of the cafe and Maddie shut the door in his face. She turned around, leaning her back against the door and sighed. There is an eyebrow. You serious about that rule change? Yeah, said Maddie. Change the sign in the menu after we close tonight. Wait, really? Rule change is just to keep him off our back, said Maddie. Is there anything? I didn't mean to take that off anyway, said Maddie. Kind of menu item that attracts the worst sort of people. Okay, said Shay. But I do think we should change the rule back to 24 hours after things have had enough time to balance out. Of course, said Maddie. We don't want to upset the balance too far in the opposite direction. What we do with all that extra time anyway? Alright. Nothing else? Nothing else. Where even is Ashley? I don't even see her anywhere. Am I even able to go downstairs? Oh yeah, I am. Hello. Up. Oh jeez. I think that's one we already saw. Yeah, this is the one we already saw. What's up at you? Enter doodle mode. What's doodle mode? Is it like actually doodling? So in doodle mode, you can draw a face for each ashling. Whenever an ashling appears throughout the game, you'll be able to see your artistic masterpiece. Okay. That's pretty cool, but... yeah, but that's not what I'm interested in right now. Really just want to focus on, like, the story and everything. Yeah, that's something I'll do, like, off stream. If we have time. I don't know how long this is gonna take. Yeah, we're back up here. Alrighty then. Guess let's go ahead and continue. Yes, please. Day 2, 12 p.m. The terminal. Rise and shine. Don't wanna. Shouldn't waste your last hours on Earth sleeping. Whoever said that I'll have plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead probably had a different idea of how things would play out after death. And I was hoping that I was having a really long, weird dream. Sorry, no such luck. The more pedantic magical practitioners are quite bothered by flippant and colloquial use of the word luck. Jay isn't one of them. I'm having trouble getting my head around it. Totally understand. Want the coffee? Yeah, just something simple. Hipster coffee, coming right up. What's going on downstairs? Didn't even know you had it downstairs. There's more to this place than meets the eye. Maddie's down there, desperately trying to fix our debt situation. Sounds like she's hosting a cage match or something. Well, not exactly, but she's mentioned wanting to do that. It's a wrestler called the Red Comet that she wanted to stop talking about for a while. Huh. And because of that, Ashley got obsessed with wrestling for a bit and kept trying to suplex me. Ashley's small, so she has to opt for wrestling moves that could control the opponent's weight instead of trying to lift them. Did she manage to? She's tiny. A couple of times. It was very humiliating. I could imagine. But to properly answer your question, Maddie's running a gambling ring. Oh. When you find yourself standing on the brink of death, a wager could be a chance at salvation, or last chance to feel danger. These appeal to different types of patrons. Downstairs? All by yourself? It's a fairly unconventional one. And by unconventional, you mean mortals generally aren't involved. The stakes are higher than usual. Oh. Coffee's ready. We'll ring get it. You gamble for time, among other things. You don't sound like you're a huge fan of the idea. I'm not. It's undignified. And as long as Maddie's not in danger, shouldn't he be fine? Council doesn't like it. Turn a blind eye because we don't cause trouble otherwise. And I'd rather not have to worry about bad things coming our way. But Maddie refuses to approach this problem from a different angle. And by the problem, you mean the debt, yeah? I was pretty drunk, but I think I remember Maddie storming off after Ned turned up. Yeah. I'm a bit worried about her. Wish I could help. You all seem pretty nice. That's appreciated. Maddie will figure it out eventually, though, I'm sure. It just needs time. Hey, thanks for the coffee, by the way. I just realized you haven't actually made me pay for a bunch of them. How do you expect to pay for them? Oh, right. Yep, no cash. Are you feeling particularly capricious? 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 I don't know. I'd ask you to pay in time. You're a nice kid, and you need every minute you've got. You want to head downstairs? You can see your eyes darting to the stairs. I'm not going down, but I'm also not going to stop you. Yeah, if that's okay. Go on then. Stick up around here. Catch you in a bit. Ooh, boy. What are we gonna see down here? What's this old gambling thing gonna look like? Stairs that led down to the basement were solid and well worn. Smooth ruts on each step and a handrail that had been polished to a silky sheen through the years of use. Kashan always liked stairwells. People never lingered in them for too long, and he'd found them to be a good place to catch a breather. Wasn't upset with them. It'd be weird. But he definitely appreciated a nice set of stairs. For the reflection, it was probably a little weird. Downstairs, Maddie's audience clamored for blood. Even the dead find blood sports compelling. Immune to me? The understanding that your remaining moments on this plane are limited, you surrender this time freely without coercion, as agreed. Contract fulfilled. Free to go. Oh. And go back. Yeah, thank you. Wait. Everything comes at a price. Nothing risked, nothing gained. Ew. Oh, something else going on there? Oh no, it's just a icon. Being weird. 3 in a row, you bloodthirsty. The crowd cheered. And he was clearly an expert at winding them up into a frenzy. Who's next? The room fell dead silent. Come on, isn't anyone here brave enough to challenge me? Why do you came here to play with knives, you pansies? Seriously? Anyone? Don't hold on me. Ahem. Do we need to pick someone out from the crowd then? Is this what we've come to? His gaze swept the audience. Sean! Good to see you upright. Interested in a game of skill? Me? Yes, you. Oh, sure? Give me some enthusiasm, my man. Sure. What's the game? 5-finger fillet. Some people in here just call it the knife game. Heard of it? Oh, finally something I'm good at. The knife game. Remember when everyone was playing that in school with like pencils? Got a lot of knives in this place. Tell me about it. Dang, this thing has a good weight to it. Nice, wouldn't make it complete without an inferior tool. What? Sorry, I was waiting for you to stick you into calling me an inferior tool. Oh, segue. That's not exactly how I expected the segue spelled, but okay. Shoot, that was low-hanging fruit, wasn't it? Next time, mate. Sure. John did another experimental slash, and this time made an audible whoosh. Spectators oohed and ahed. But this wasn't for them. He knew that he only had one shot to get accustomed to the blade. You done showing off? Nothing wrong with putting on a little show. Sounds like you're stalling for time. Any cold feet, perhaps? Not a chance. Let's get started then. You know what we're wagering? I mentioned something about you gambling with time. It's not gambling if it's a game of skill. But that's besides the point. We're both wagering 4 hours. You win, comes from the cafe's balance. If I win, comes from yours. Got around 16 hours left, in case you weren't keeping track. Heck, only that many? A little extra time to play with then? Heck yeah. Stop wasting it and get this over with. Sure you know what you're getting into? Most people are pretty shy about playing with the time they have left, especially when their tank's running as empty as yours. Yep, come on. Unless you're getting cold feet. Hardly. You got 30 seconds. Back the timer when you're ready. Crowd cheered and Kashan fed off their enthusiasm. In response, Manny leaned back and tapped her finger on the table, grinning in impatience. He met her eyes, grinned, and continued his performance. The stabbing motion got faster as he went, the point narrowly missing each of his fingers. Stabs, strong enough to drive the knife a millimeter or two into the table, were good if you wanted to put it on a show. And of course, giving the spectators a show was part of the fun. You might be going fast enough to put on a show, you're not going fast enough to win. How'd I do? 16 sets, if I counted correctly. Whoa. Couldn't do 16. That's how many Maddie beat me with. She gonna lose? Nah, she's gonna kick his butt. Feeling good about that result? Certainly am. Here we go then. Watch closely. Well, I will. 16. 1. 3. 7. 11. 15. Told ya, she's unbeatable. Magic? Could cheat if she wanted to. Definitely not, she's just that good. Poor guy, he didn't know what he was getting into. Sorry, mate. You beat me fair and square. Are you impressed? I aim to please. Taking those hours now, if you don't mind. Yeah, sure. How does this work? Just like this. You won't feel a thing. Sean felt a brief tightness in his chest, and just for a moment, the tip of Maddie's finger burned white hot. Can't bleed entropy. Anytime you do an energy transfer, there's going to be some amount of energy lost to heat. No! Crap. Sorry, I lied. Done now, though. Alright. Anyone else dare to compete with me? Come on, looking for some actual decent opposition here. I'll take any challenge, even if it's chess or something. Any challenge? I challenge you? Well, I challenge you. To get everyone a drink. Rounds on me. Didn't realize you were watching. Wasn't anything happening upstairs and I got bored. Right. So, you took some hours from Kashan, huh? Yeah, I did. You feel good about that? Jay. Do you? Won them fair and square. You didn't know what he was getting into. There's an obvious power imbalance here that you're exploiting. He doesn't want to let you forget the responsibilities that come with power. He knew the rules! Doesn't change anything. For them to believe that he'd get some extra time. Manny knows firsthand how seductive the promise of extra time can be. And? Barring a miracle on his part, it absolutely wasn't going to happen. Doesn't matter. Just passing through. A couple hours won't make any difference. Well, Maddie, I'm disappointed in you. Patrons respect us. We need to earn that respect by treating them with respect ourselves. It's not respectful or dignified. Being vulnerable passers through out of their time, we're above that. We're better than that. I don't care whether you think it's dishonest or not. I want you to give that poor man his time back. Don't pout, this is serious. I feel like a broken record saying this. While I understand your intentions are good, you can't keep doing these things. It's all for you. You really want to do this for me? Find another way. This isn't worth it, Maddie. It breaks my heart to see you like this. I know you're trying your hardest. This really, truly is not worth sacrificing your own self-respect over. Everyone here respects you. You gambling with hours just cheapens that. I'll give the hours back. Shame, it was pretty great with the knife. Oh, not as good as me. It was pretty close. Oh. Loveless. Yeah? What form did you have before being reborn? I think it was a crab. Come on, being serious. Ashley wouldn't harvest spirit liquid from a crab. You're assuming an awful lot about how squeamish she is. As far as I can remember, I lived above streets next to the sky. So a bird then? Wings and feathers and such? No, not that. I don't remember flying though. Oh, were you a sugar glider? Describe? Did you eat insects and tree sap and flower nectar? That is familiar. Wonder how I actually found you then. Could have been anything really. Mentioned bright lights earlier. Oof. Yeah, I'm thinking you got hit by a car. Seems likely. It's that bad? I mean, you're here now, so... whether you like it or not... shut up. I am still adjusting. I like those little guys. Look at you turning into a responsible human being. Oh, another interlude. Studio mode is now available. You can now speak to Kashan to access studio mode. What's studio mode? Well, you have more of this. Whew. Go, little girl. The man standing in front of Beth smirked. The knife he held seemed almost slight compared to his massive hands, but it didn't make it any less intimidating. There's just one quick, came a call from behind the knife holder. 3 men stood behind him, wearing expressions which ranged from amused to bored. Beth felt her palm getting sweaty and her loosened grip on a knife in her hand. Right hand, sliding her thumb along the guard to reassure herself that its shape hadn't changed since the moment she picked it up. Take your friend's advice, Beth said to the man who was menacing her. Finish this quick. After all, I am just a little girl. Well, easy as any 15-year-old. Well, as little as any 15-year-old girl could be. And do, said the man, and he drew his knife up for an overhead swing. The man's movement suggested that he didn't know how to use a knife. Not really. He was swinging the knife like he'd swing a fist. Like he was trying to bludgeon her with it. He'd never really used a knife before. He was stupid. Mercifully stupid. She tried to reassure herself of that fact, trying not to lose her resolve. He lunged towards her as he brought the knife down, and Beth raised her left arm. But the edge of the knife had her skin, but the impact of the blow caused the man to lose his grip on the knife. An opening. Beth grabbed the attacker's knife arm and pulled him towards her, while thrusting her own knife towards him at chest level. She drove the knife into the man's chest with all the force she could muster, and he fell to the ground and gasped as Beth released her grip on him. He lay on the ground and put a hand to his chest, moaning. Oh, biscuit. Doing okay down there? Said Beth. The man sat up and patted his chest. Didn't expect to lose to a girl? No. Well, that too, but I didn't expect it to hurt this much. Private practice knives are no joke, said Beth. If I had stabbed any harder, I might have broken a rib. And stood up. You got a name, girl? You can call me Beth, she said, extending a hand. Took it with a look of hesitation. Kyle. I gotta say, Beth, this was kind of a cheap trick. How do you mean? I mean the way you blocked my knife with your arm. Just bounced right off. Wouldn't do that if we were using real knives. He's right, said one of the spectators. Not really fair fight with rubber knives. I'd like a rematch, said Kyle. Yeah, said one of the spectators. Rematch. The others began chanting along with him. Rematch, rematch, rematch. A voice thundered from above. I told you guys to keep it down. One spun around to face the stairs leading up to the ground floor. I was leaning over the railing of the staircase with a stern look on her face. She'd have to post her on the wall. I took a moment to glance at the sign. Fight Club rules. 1. Don't quote Tyler Durden. Seriously, no Tyler Durden quotes. You always assume your opponent is mortal. Practice weapons only. Be considerate to other guests. Keep noise to a reasonable level. We don't have many rules here, said Maddie. Please don't make me kick you out of the basement. Everyone else in the room cast a gaze downward, looking ashamed, but someone mumbled apologies. Annie nodded and climbed back up the stairs, content that she had made a point. Seriously though, said Kyle. Not really fair fight without real knives. Beth walked over to the edge of the room and lifted a rug, revealing 2 steak knives. Several whispers erupted from the small crowd. Where'd you get these? Asked Kyle. Ripped them from upstairs, said Beth. Not exactly combat gear, but these blades are fit to cut through flesh, from cooked steak or a human arm. Beth held one of the steak knives by the blade, presenting its handle. Kyle, I've already broken one rule tonight. I'm gonna break another one. I won't get hurt, said Kyle. I mean, I can still feel the pain, but, you know, not afraid of getting stabbed. Neither am I, said Beth. Don't say you're ready for this if you're not ready to bleed. Turned the knife over in her hands, pressing her thumb against the tip, just enough to draw a single drop of blood. Kyle grinned. Do you like, look like I would be here if I was afraid to die? Alright. Oh. Another thing, wandering spirit. Man, I'm already down to have my thing. Sean's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Those footsteps always so loud? Perhaps it was just a contrast with the surrounding environment. It seemed like completely silent. That made his footfall seem so jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It's fog-like, and yet, despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick here. Breathed heavily, Sean felt an overwhelming sweet, sickly odor, like the smell of wet on rotting wood. All he could see around him were the steel beams and the concrete path in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. The smell was somehow organic, the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Sean shivered. In the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it made the structure he was inside feel almost tunnel-like, as if its only purpose was to convey him to that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to be growing more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air. As he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him, unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Sean started to turn backwards, but only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut. When he opened them, he was again facing into the tunnel, with the distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light, and he was forced to close his eyes or look away. He was frightened again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. They were pounding violently inside of his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, his own pulse inside of his head. Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time found himself unable to even begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut. Leaving him again in a world of darkness until he opened them again and was confronted with the sight of the small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. John kept facing the building, took a step backward. He placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. Another yelp of terror. Instinctively, his hand reached for the opposite edges of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for the fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough that his body didn't lay close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk. Yet as he looked towards the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread, that there was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of him. Almost as he thought it, he felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. Thumbed to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran. But he ran all the same, running not to reach a destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Once ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he was somehow trapped in here. Now, that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread, propelled him forward. He had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. John leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself winded when forced to climb more than one flight of stairs. Yet he ran and ran. Felt no sense of tiredness holding him back. No need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the thick air here that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was that the fear of whatever was behind him was that strong. John felt the air stinging in his eyes as he ran. But now he was running so fast, the thick air felt like a hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find in him to raise a hand to wipe at his eyes. That remained slowing his sprint. He closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At that point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kashan realized that he could hear only the sound of his own feet as it struck the catwalk. And he could hear the rush of wind, even as it seemed to buffet his face. No signs of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He found himself to open his eyes and look down. Looked over his shoulder. This time there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of a long tunnel, and in observing the dim glow of the distant light, John suddenly realized just how far he'd run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him, and windows that were covered with the same fog that covered the ground below him. Around him. John reached for the door handle. He had expected it to be locked and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face what was on the other side of that door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside of this building? Answers or more baffling questions? Kashan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place was, he needed to escape it. The only form of egress that seemed available to him was the door of this building. Leaning on the handle, he felt the door swing open. Is that like precursor to what happens here? I assume this is the way back up. Yep, that's the way back up. Fight Club rules. Oh, billiards too. Jeez, this is gonna be a long one, isn't it? No, kid, you've got style. I perked up. Was the first unsolicited remark that he heard from Old Man Thomas all night. Didn't expect any compliment after being Thomas, but hear that kind of comment after a loss made him perk right up. Thanks, said Brad. It wasn't a compliment, said Thomas. Just like that, Brad's mood came crashing down. Thomas continued. All the best players back in my day, none of them had style. Now doesn't win tournaments. Sure, said Brad. Consistency is what wins tournaments. Consistency doesn't mean anything, said Thomas. It's a symptom of skilled play. It's not a thing you can just decide on. No one sits down at the table thinking, gee, I better be consistent today. Nobody. So if you're not thinking about consistency, what are you thinking about? Fundamentals. Thomas struck the end of his cue. Fundamentals are what matters most. Because if you don't get the fundamentals right, all the fancy stuff isn't going to matter. Thomas leaned down to line up his cue. Strange shot is your specialty. The opponents told me exactly that, tongue-in-cheek, thinking that they were insulting me. But I take it as a compliment. If you control the cue ball, you can turn any shot into a chip shot. That's what you want to do. That's how I can still sink them, even at my old age. I know, I've been watching you, said Brad. Cue ball control is incredible. You're a very talented player. Not talented, said Thomas. You can do it too. The question is whether you've got the discipline and the patience. Thomas followed through with his stroke and hit the apex of the triangle head on. Think 2 balls, 1 stripe, 1 solid. Waited his stripe once, signifying his choice. Play discipline, said Brad. When I was in high school, I'd come out every day after school and put in at least 4 hours of practice. Sometimes I'd come in after dinner and squeeze in a few hours more. And on weekends, I'd come and spend all day up here. Of course you did, said Thomas. All the pros have. Anyone can put in time. At a certain point, what matters can't be in the number of hours you put in, because everyone puts in time. What matters is how you use that time. It seems like you spent a lot of time practicing trick shots. I was lined up and made several practice strokes. Brad found himself getting annoyed with Thomas. I knew better than to try and talk to Thomas while he was lining up a shot. That was bad etiquette and just bad sportsmanship, plain simple. It kept him from offering timely retorts to Thomas's statements. It was bad sportsmanship. I decided to talk to an opponent in a situation where etiquette forbade him from responding. Thomas finally took a shot and sunk a solid colored ball. Bad bounce put the cue in the pocket with it. Brad sighed with relief as he took control of the ball, and with it, control of the conversation. Great, takes a lot of practice. I landed up a shot aiming at one of the balls in the opposite corner. We could get the angle just right. Took the shot and the cue ball knocked one of the strike balls into the back left pocket, before ricocheting and hitting another ball into the back right pocket. Clean right double. Clean right double? Yeah, sure, that's a sentence. Clean double. Brad tapped the table with his cue, as if to emphasize the shot he had just made. No one learned how to do stuff like this overnight. It's a nice trick, said Thomas. Now can you do the same thing 10 times in a row without messing it up? No, said Brad. Said Brad? Forgot an R there. Hard shot. About 10%er for most people. But I'm good. I can get it 30, 40%. 30% shot isn't worth taking, said Thomas. If I offered you a coin flip bet with a weighted coin, would you take it? No, of course not, said Brad. And you take the low percentage shot. Make it a higher percentage shot, though, said Brad. Yes, I'm sure you look like a big hero by doing it. When you miss, no one calls you on it because defensive shots are boring, said Thomas. I can play defensively, said Brad. You don't win games by playing defensively. Of course not, said Thomas. There's nothing on the scoreboard that lets you tabulate the places where you denied your opponent a point. I was angry now and began lining up his next shot, just so he wouldn't have to hear the old man talk. Some players might get tilted in a situation like this. Brad played better when he was emotional. Whatever it was that made him play better under pressure also made him play better while angry. He couldn't even think about the shots he was making. He was operating on pure instinct and conscious thought. Thought that was chased away by anger was only a distraction. I tried for another double. Missed the second ball, but one was enough to set him up for a triple bank shot, which he followed with another shot that he put spin on. Didn't even need to curve the ball around or anything. He just wanted to show Thomas that he could do it reliably. Fortunately, he didn't get punished for it. The last shot placed one of Thomas's balls between the black 8 ball and the white cue ball. I knew that he could sink the shot easily by hitting Thomas's solid into a stripe. He was on fire and he wanted something flashy. Broke the cue ball's base, striking the other tip of his stick into the table, and it bounced the ball up and over Thomas's ball, hitting his own and sending it into the pocket. I turned to Thomas with a look of defiance. Looks like this game is mine, old man. Yep, said Thomas, taking a sip of his beer. Is that all you have to say? Yep, said Thomas. How about, oh, you outplayed me? Do you need me to tell you that? Said Thomas. A little acknowledgement would be nice. And after he finished saying it, Brad found himself cringing. He sounded like a petulant child. Frustrated and angry and disappointed. Knowing all of that about himself didn't make any of it less true. Thomas shrugged. Well, you played to win the game, not for validation. Don't give me a break, said Brad. That line, coming from a pro, when you compete, you play to win, sure. There's money on the line. The money goes to the person who gets the W. Play to win the game, you get money. But I get the feeling you're playing it for something else. What are you talking about, said Brad. Play to impress people. It's different from playing to win. Why you never take the defensive shot? I just won. Yep. To when you're playing to win. Because you happen to win doesn't mean you made the right decision. Well, the heck does any of that make any sense? Thomas took a coin out of his pocket. Here's a hypothetical. Suppose I have a coin. I ask you to call heads or tails on a $1 bet. Now, you know the coin is weighted. Lands on heads, 30% of the time. What do you bet on? Heads, of course, said Brad. Now I flip the coin. Comes with tails. Bad luck, Brad. You just lost $1. Did you make the right decision? What? Thomas continued. If you had called tails, you would have won the bet. Clearly calling tails is the wrong decision. Sometimes you make the wrong decision and get short-term payoffs. That's why the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean that you made the right decision. Sometimes these things only reveal themselves after you flip the coin hundreds of times. I played hundreds of games, said Brad. And that's as a pro. Practice games, I play 100 games in a week. Easy. Maybe 200 games a week, depending. And how many times have you made the WBC? I won the WBC, said Brad. Right, said Thomas. That's the thing about calling tails. Sometimes, even if you make the wrong choice, randomness comes up in your favor and you happen to run hot. But in the long run, things don't quite pan out. Brad threw his cue down. Now you're saying that my wins were all due to luck? Not all luck, said Thomas. Like I said, it takes some skill to make a 10% into a 30% shot. A lot of skill, in fact. You got good hands and a good eye for a ball. But plus for a cool shot supersedes that. You'd rather fail spectacularly than win through boring play. Heck you, Brad. You know what? I actually won the WBC. Maybe he did run hot for just 1 year, but at least I have a championship to my name. I made it to the final 6 times and lost every time. Now my career is done. You're over with. You'll never be a WBC champion, which I hold, by the way. You're right, said Thomas. I don't mean to knock the high variance approach. Maybe that's what you want, to win once and then burn out. Yeah, that's what I want, said Brad, annoyed to find himself agreeing with Thomas. What have you done with your life since retirement, old man? Ever done anything wild? You've lived more in one night than you have in your entire life. Happy with the way I spent my life, said Thomas. No regrets. I softened. Can you say the same? Question should have come as a challenge. There was something in Thomas's eyes as he looked at Brad that made it feel even worse. Thomas's expression wasn't one of antagonism. It was one of pity. Brad knew, deep in the pit of his heart, Thomas wasn't doing it to attack him. That made it sting even worse. I started to say something, but found himself choking on a lump in his throat, and as he reached up and felt wetness on his cheeks, he realized that he was crying. Ooh boy. Is there anything else through here? Oh. Rotten poppy. Oh boy. Annie opened an herb jar and decided she examined the contents. Rotten. And pointing them down the sink. I hate poppy seeds, she muttered to herself. Won't tolerate that kind of hate speech here, said Shay. Too bad the rules aren't yours to make, old man, said Maddie. Should have thought of that before you handed me the keys. I hope you get the keys back, said Ashley. Got a magnetic grabber that. These are metaphors, said Maddie. No, they're not some kind of magical talisman that grants ownership over an establishment. There's a magical talisman but there is a magical talisman that grants ownership over the establishment. Exactly. Yeah, said Maddie. Call it a deed. This deed entitles me to certain privileges. It is expressing my hatred for poppy seeds. It's not good for the soul, said Shay. Hate corrupts the soul. Hey, I'm new here, said Kashan, but you're talking literally? Does hatred actually corrupt the soul? No, hatred did not corrupt the soul, said Maddie. Nor will poppy seeds, despite being a distant cousin of the bay leaf. It's a good thing, said Shay, because Maddie's soul is full of hate. Trust me, I've seen the ultrasound. Once again, as the new guy, I gotta ask, are you talking literally? No, hatred does not show up on an ultrasound, said Maddie. Is something about bay leaves corrupting the soul is also a metaphor? Oh no, said Maddie. That part was entirely literal. Bay leaves absorb bitterness. Always remove the bay leaf from something before eating it. Bitterness is in figurative bitterness? I'm not talking literally, but in the sense that bay leaves absorb figurative bitterness. But yes, they also absorb literal bitterness. I'm so confused right now, said Shay. Just don't absorb a bay leaf into your soul and you'll be fine, said Maddie. It's not the kind of thing that happens accidentally. Are you sure? Said Sean. But I think I might have accidentally ingested a bay leaf one time. My friend's grandma made this big pot of chili. Soul is not connected to your digestive tract, said Maddie. Not your gut. So unless you're inhaling your food, it's not going to be a problem. Again, new guy here. Soul, respiratory system. So that's the thing. Oh yeah, said Maddie. Why do you think people are so into burning herbs and inhaling them? I assume that was just how they don't exactly know how cannabis works, but it's like psychoactive. What? Maddie? No, not that herb, like people who burn incense. Huh, Sean. That's something new. That's why you always have to watch out for when herbs go bad. One might accidentally inhale some of them. Another reason to hate poppy seeds and the short shelf life. Sean's eye narrowed. How long does it take for poppy seeds to go bad? These went bad in a matter of months, said Maddie. Matter of months? Kashan? How many months are we talking here? Maybe 30, said Maddie. John did some counting on his fingers. 30 months is 2 years and a half. It's 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Jay piped up. Left that jar of poppy seeds for 2.5 years? I nodded. As I said, number of months. 30 is the number. 30 is an injustice, said Jay. How have you not touched the poppy seeds in all this time? People don't actually like poppy seeds, said Maddie. They're just like the muffins they come in. You give them the muffin without the poppy seeds, they'll like it even more. Poppy seeds just make everything worse. People love poppy seeds, said Shay. Me, for instance. I have a great love for the humble poppy. Really? Then how is that you've never touched a jar of poppy seeds? In the past 30 or so months, it's been sitting on the spice shelf. They shrugged. I like lots of things. Evidently, during the past 30 months, I found that I enjoyed more than the humble poppy seed. I'm offended by the idea that you would discriminate against such a lowly and unpretentious food item. I like the idea of poppy seeds, said Maddie. I like the idea of an herb that comes in discrete units called seeds, that you don't have to wonder about how much a sprig is. Something that you can picture as opposed to a cumin that you wouldn't recognize even if I said it on your tongue, or rosemary, which you probably forget was a spice, and which you couldn't tell from time. You see me disposing of poppy seeds, it pains you, because it's something you can conceptualize. If I told you that I hate cumin and I had to flush a bunch of it down the sink, would you be bothered by that? Probably not, said Shay. But really, it's not I who am discriminating against poppy seed. It is you who is discriminating against non-poppy seed spices. There's no reason for us to have poppy seeds anywhere in this cafe. People claim that they want them, but you can go years without ever serving up a single poppy seed and no one will notice its absence. One wearing a loose green sweater walked up to the counter. Were you just talking about poppy seeds? Yes, said Maddie. We're all out. Oh, it's too bad, said the woman. I was hoping you might have a... Don't say muffin, thought Maddie to herself. Don't say anything about poppy seed muffins. A poppy seed muffin, said the woman. My grandmother was really fond of them. They grinned as Maddie tried to avoid cringing. The woman in the green sweater said, used to be a part of the standard muffin trifecta. Chocolate, blueberry, poppy seed. I always wonder why cafes stop serving poppy seed muffins. Wonder, said Maddie aloud. It's been so long since I've tasted one, said the woman. Years, I'm guessing? Yeah, it's been years, said the woman. Man. There's a lot in this little area. Oh. Oh, another fisherman. A fisherman story. Wait, Fisherman 3? Where's Fisherman 2? I remember seeing the second one. At all. Actually, these journals too. Alright. Robots power rankings, Alpha Charlie Echo. Ace. All of the commenters call this robot Ace, so it's probably because it's so good. Seems biased for them to call one particular robot Ace, but it's obvious how it got this name when it runs all the time. First, it looks like this bot doesn't have a weapon, and it's just designed to be really fast and agile. Then you realize that its entire body is a weapon, ramming into unsuspecting people. It'd be a great tactic to get into a fight when you didn't have a weapon. You don't need a flamethrower or a buzzsaw if you just have a 150 kilogram body and can ram into people really fast. Probably wouldn't work very well for me because I don't weigh 150 kilograms and I'm pretty small. That isn't a problem since I usually carry things that can be used as weapons. I could carry a crowbar, and then if someone tried to attack me, I could just take the L end, jam the crowbar under their feet and kick it, and then pull it up and use it to knock them off balance, even though I'm probably smaller than most people. I'm sure why it's named Alpha Charlie Echo. Who knows a remake or some made in the style of a bot called Alpha Charlie, or any other bots by the name, and the team that made it are all rookies. So none of them are named Charlie. I guess named after someone's dad or brother. The next robot would probably be called Beta Charlie Echo, or Maybe Alpha V2 Charlie Echo or Final 2 Charlie Echo. Oh, Ashley, you don't get it. It's very dark. I don't know why. Anything else? No? Where's the other fisherman story? Is that gonna be back upstairs somewhere? There's this little area, but... wonder if that's gonna be upstairs. Or not. Yeah, I think Fisherman... yeah, Fisherman 1 was there. Oh, hello. You're here. Studio mode. Yeah, I might check out those other things, like off-stream or something. Okay, there's nothing over here. Nothing over here that I know of. Of this, but... advisory roll, yeah, we've seen that one. There's the billiards. Ah, Fisherman 2! There we go. Whew. The expression on Jack's face was expectant when Maddie came out of the kitchen carrying his plate. Expectant, but not impatient. The expression fit his posture, sitting upright with hands folded and resting in front of him. Your halibut's ready. Jack's eyebrows raised when Maddie set the plate down in front of him. He closed his eyes and lowered his chin just a tad, allowing the scent of grilled fish to waft into his nostrils as he drank in the odor. Several moments passed as a smile crawled onto his face, and then grabbed the fork and began cutting the halibut up. It was several mouthfuls in when Maddie spoke up. But you said you weren't going to eat it, she said. I couldn't help myself, said Jack. Felt too good to not give it a taste, and tasted too good to stop. Couldn't help but notice the hesitation, said Maddie. Jack held up the fork, which had a piece of the fish speared on it. No, a fish like this, you never know what kind of memories it's going to bring up. Not all memories are good. This fish, it tastes like adventure. Conquest. You fish much? You could say that, said Jack, with a grin. Make it out. Made it on the water several days each year. Catch any big ones? Lots, I'm sure. But I'm more of a quantity over size kind of person. Most important weight is your tally at the end of the day. Not the patient kind of fisherman. Why you learn to be so patient if not from fishing? It's the only time I'm not a patient man, said Jack. Funny, said Maddie. And I hear the opposite from a lot of people. I take really long vacations, said Jack. That's when you fish? That's when I don't fish, said Jack. Ah, you're a fish tradesman. I'm known as fisherman, said Jack. But yeah. Well, with that, you know, said Maddie. Didn't I? Okay. Well, like I said, I don't get out on the water very often. Yes, your profession, said Maddie. I think that would mean more days on the water. Such is life in Alaska, he said. Fishing season gets shorter every year. Ah, of course, said Maddie. Halibut are seasonal. You only catch them when they migrate, is that it? Kind of business is only open a few days out of the year, thanks to Mother Nature. Thanks to the government, said Jack. 1970 halibut season was 150 days long. It got shortened to 100 days. You only work 100 days out of the year? No, ma'am. 100-day halibut season was before my time. By the time I found myself on that side of the Pacific, they were down to fishing derbies. Actually, that's what got me out there. Derbies? All the fish you can catch for 24 hours. Spaced out. Fishing season is just a few days a year now. You make a living doing that? You can catch a lot of fish in one day, said Jack. But I had to shorten the season. Don't take very many skips on the water before you have a problem with overfishing. If someone on the promise of working for several days out of the year and being able to come back home, live the good life 360 days out of the year, they didn't have to work. He grinned in a way that suggested he wanted Maddie to prompt further. Did Alaska deliver on that promise? Said Maddie. Is America truly a land where the streets are paved with gold? Streets aren't paved with gold, even though I'm told there's black gold to be found in Alaska. Yes, Alaska did deliver on what was promised. Worked several derbies a year and made enough to live pretty well. Just skip the part where I was supposed to come back home. What's the matter? Said Maddie. You want to sail back to Australia? Afraid of getting seasick? No, ma'am, said Jack, apparently missing your joke. You want someone who can convince you to stay? Use someone, said Jack. Spent some time working in a skiff with someone. It's the kind of bond you don't find easily. Not the kind of thing you give up easily. Kind of bond working only a few days out of the year? Asked Maddie. It's intense. It's like being in the line of duty. It's not like going to war. War against the fishes? War against the sea, said Jack. Whew. That's all you can catch for 24 hours. You don't have the time to be safe. When the day arrives, you're on the water, no matter the weather. And the skiffs are not large boats. For every 1,000 fishermen that go out, 997 come back. Firefighters have better odds than that. Soldiers have better odds than that. Yes, it is a bit like going to war. Looked down at the fish in front of him for a moment. There were sometimes I could swear I could smell death on the water. Every time you pulled up to the shore with a bowl full of fish, and the same number of men you left with, with a giant middle finger to Death's face. Broke into a grin. Those moments, you never feel more at home. When you have that kind of experience with someone, you don't pack off to spend the year in Australia, do you? Tap his chest. I'm one of them now. Jack looked around and Maddie realized it was the first moment she'd seen Jack really take notice of the space he was in. This went as he scanned the shelves behind her, and the people at the tables around him. And I ended up here. He always knew I would be here sooner or later. Alright. I guess we can head on back downstairs. Finish up Fisherman 3. There we go. Now, where was it? Over here? Yeah, Fisherman 3. Jack waited until Maddie left the counter before motioning to Shay. Hey, said Shay. Can I get you something? Jack nodded. Can you get out that whiskey bottle and pour a glass? He glanced over his shoulders to verify that Maddie wasn't present. Any reason you couldn't ask her? Shay. Afraid of what it might do to me, said Jack. I don't want her to worry. He arched an eyebrow. Should I be worried? Jack shook his head. You don't strike me as a worrier. It's not about... I'm not intending to get drunk. I think if I smell it, it might be enough. You're going somewhere inside of here, said Shay, tapping on the side of his head. Exactly, said Jack. And you, well, I can tell from looking at you. You know what it's like to see a friend die. Shay smiled grimly. Isn't that easy to read? No, but now I know it's true, said Jack. Don't count her out, said Shay, referring to Maddie. You've seen more than you can read on her face. Yeah, but Jack hemmed and hawed over his next words. Seeing something is not the same as having experienced it. You know what it means to be experiencing and lose it. You know what it means to be experienced and losing friends. I nodded. Something that I've grown well accustomed with over the years. And the day I found myself preparing for a funeral and not even thinking too hard about what I was doing. I was going on autopilot until the moment I realized I've done so many of these, I can only check out at doing this. All by a feeling of, nobody's ever supposed to feel like they're getting good at doing funerals, right? All by a feeling of, actually we all leave this mortal coil at some point and someone has to be the last one in the group of friends to kick the bucket. Maybe doing well at longevity just means outlasting your friends. Jack's eyes narrowed. How old are you? Older than I look, said Shay. Jack laughed, but it was a forced laugh. Dang, wish I had that problem. I have the same thing, but in reverse. Taking out the bottle of Jack Daniels out from where Maddie had stowed it and set it in front of Jack before looking for a glass. I picked up the bottle and studied the label. You work with your hands before, said Jack. I worked a boat before, said Shay. Not bad work. Never boring. From the first day I spent on the welder, I knew it was my calling. Even enough to retire after several years, but by that point I was so wedded to the idea of having my own boat that I kept saving. Did you ever become Captain Jack? One day, said Jack. I was Captain Jack for one day. He held the glass in his hand, now setting it down in front of Jack. It was terrible crap luck, said Jack. The water was clear. Water wasn't even that choppy. But that's why he got careless. That's why he thought he could try and fix the net when it was stuck. At least I assume that's what he was trying to do when he fell overboard. He silently set the glass down on the counter, palm side up. You know what the worst part is? I realized that it happened, I didn't think. Captain, the one man whose job it is to keep a level head, didn't think about what I was doing. I just jumped overboard after him. And grab a life ring or anything. Stupid. You ever find yourself in that position when you jump overboard? All you're doing is making the problem twice as big. Nothing I can imagine that compares to the sense of dread and regret that I felt in that moment as I felt myself sinking below the surface. Can you imagine that? Having that kind of thought? Say that when you're in intense physical pain, it's supposed to block out anything. You can't feel anger, sadness, or regret, or wistfulness when there's 1,000 needles stabbing you all over at once. It's exactly what it feels like when you jump into that freezing Alaskan surf. That's what you don't realize about cold until you've totally immersed in it. You don't feel cold, you feel pain. All over. Somehow in the midst of all that pain, it's still possible to think, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Dumb. I leaped over, and I guess I imagined myself swimming around in the water, looking for him. And I actually did try opening my eyes. Big mistake. Pacific Ocean, I'm not sure if you knew this, but it's salt water. And somehow, it's even more painful than the thousands of pins and needles stinging you all around, reminding you that the water's freezing and you're not supposed to be in it. You know what the crazy thing is? They managed to fish me out. Terrible pun, sorry. They found me. Threw me a line. Irony is, I almost died of hypothermia there on the deck. Being soaking, pecking cold in that cold Arctic wind. You know, hypothermia can kill you almost as fast as drowning can. Didn't even make it to Cal's funeral. I barely looked this girl in the eye. Nobody blamed me as captain. I should have known better than do what he did. Did know better. All I could think was, what if I hadn't jumped over? If they had been busy pulling my stupid butt out of the water, would they have found Cal? I knew that if I was thinking it, she had to be thinking it too. They all had to be thinking it. I couldn't face that. All I could do was sit at home. Every time I walked to the bathroom, I passed a display full of these bottles. I tapped the bottle of whiskey on the counter. Hypothermia can kill you in 5 minutes. Drowning can kill you in 3. Drinking yourself to death, it takes longer than that. Not much longer. Looked up at Shay. I just want to smell it. Jack glanced at what little remained of the halibut Shay had grilled for him. It shouldn't do it for you, huh? Said Shay. Jack shook his head. Like I said, not too good. Shay doodly uncorked the whiskey and poured out a finger. He filled the glass to his nose and inhaled deeply. Yeah, this is the smell I was looking for. There it is. A smell that makes me feel sick to my stomach. Stood up. I think I'm ready to go. I see. Nothing else over here, right? Nope. Alright. Dollar staff only. Like, who are we even playing as right now? Because technically not even Maddie, but I don't think we're Shay. So I wonder if we're just like not even playing as anyone. Or just like random patron. Can you? Yeah, sure. You probably get this one done, and then end off when the next terminal session ends. Yeah, these Necrobarista streams are probably only gonna be until like 8 o'clock, because, man, that's a lot of talking. My throat gets dry really fast. I don't have enough drink for that. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the terminal. You right? Yeah, I guess. Cool. And if I join you? Go for it. Durry? Hmm? You want a durry? I'm sorry, Durry. Coffin nail. Cigarette? You wanna smoke or not? Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's been a weird day. Thanks. No worries. Where are you from, then? The first to ask. I'm in Collingwood. What else can you find in an active nightlife scene amid active factories, shots, and apartments built all during the 1800s? Oh yeah? Whereabouts? Smith Street. Bit pricey up there these days, isn't it? Bet you like your Ava toast. Frick off. Got housemates. Well, nah, I know what you mean. Bit odd. Being dead and all that. Takes some getting used to. Ned certainly knows what it's like to get used to being dead. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better. I understand. Do you? I get as much as anyone can, yeah. Right. Hey, what's Ava toast actually taste like? Huh? Never had it. Did you go out and just eat some? Paramedic can whip it up if you ask. Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust them one bit. Plus, I've got this whole situation. Oh, so that's what the straw was for. You got it. So, what does it taste like? I don't know. Like avocado and toasted bread? Avocado is kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste. Like peas? Anything better than mushy peas. Give me a bowl of peas, mate. Love me a bowl of peas, mate. One famous Australian outlaw requested peas with a bottle of wine for his last meal before he was hanged. What, 'cause they're the only thing you can eat through a straw? Watch yourself. Is that me with your death council powers? First off, it's Council of Death, not a Death Council. Totally different things. Secondly, you really think that's what we do? Walk around shooting lightning out of our fingers? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, yeah. We don't do anything like that. Just keep things running smoothly is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often. They just keep the peace. Pecking ironic as that sounds, yeah, that keeps the peace. Dude, I know. Want another? Sure. Love the sunrises here. They're alright. Watch many sunrises, Ned? Not enough, no. Even semi-immortals need their sleep. Liminal space tends to draw liminal people. Just like to sit here and watch it. When it's cloudy or raining, there's just something about watching the sunrise that makes it easier to deal with the coming day. Feeling optimistic all of a sudden? No, still feel like crap. About you, Kashan? Why is he glowing green? Sean? I don't feel great. I'm having a lot of trouble, You guys, I'm dead, and I've only got a couple hours left before I have to go, and I don't think anyone here really properly understands what it's like to see your last sunrise ever without having any idea of what comes next, and that is really pecking terrifying. I'm never gonna see my friends, or my boyfriend, or my family again, and I'm just gonna pass on, and I'll never know how they'll remember me, or mourn me, or I'm even gonna be remembered as a good dude who tries best, or I'll just be forgotten in a year. That good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a friggin' game of five-finger fillet in the basement of a cafe. Basically sits on the banks of the Styx as far as I can tell. And I can't tell if any of that even matters. Is the stakes low? High? Can't tell. I'm so disoriented and trying so desperately to feel something. All I feel is I'm slipping away with every second. Losing myself by degrees, and that's incredibly scary, and I don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, fair cap. I actually came out to apologize for that. The game. For God's sake, Maddie, have you been gambling again? Can it, Ned? John. I don't have taken that time from you. Took it fair and square. I don't feel like I did, so I'm giving it back. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you are. I don't usually do this. What's different this time? That's my business. I feel like you're still swindling people out of hours to try and fix your debt. Dude, I know. Why are you undignified? It's a clear violation of the rules. I will banish you right now, my man. Why don't you stop pulling that crap once you took ownership of the cafe from Shay? You don't think doing this is going to help you pay this debt? Yes! Absolutely! If you got any bright ideas on how to do it, otherwise, I'm all ears. I never really granted you to Shay those licenses to practice. The actions of reckless necromancers make a pretty good case for the importance of occupational licensing. You've obviously failed to be responsible with them. I really think we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have the licenses, Bushmen. In your history, the hypocrisy on display here is astounding. That's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years. But the council? Really? Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important? Sure do, and don't need you moralizing at me from your ivory tower. Give it a rest, guys. What? It's only the last day on Earth card. Quit it. I'll be inside. Invite me when you want those hours back, Sean. What it's worth. Sorry about all this. Never been to the other side. Too afraid to leave. Walked the land for decades, evading the council. It's a crime they call it revenancy. Staying too long? Setting the balance? In lieu of booting me straight to the next place, some sort of eternal punishment, the council offered me a job. And may have forgotten some of the sins of his past, but he's pretty sure he wouldn't be going to heaven. Sorry, that's all the stuff you don't care about, I suppose. It's interesting enough. And I'm just filling up empty air. Head inside and grab those hours back. Just be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddie right now. I've been dishonest with you? Even I can tell she's at the end of her rope. May not be able to see it yet, but I think the people in there are fond of you. Think so? Anyone would have offered the hours back if there wasn't something different about you. Plus, that kid Ashley seems to like you, yeah? I guess. And just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Come on, go inside and say hi. Got some business to go stick my nose into anyway. Alright. Catch you in a bit. Got some questions about the council. Of course. Won't be out for long. Later, mate. Hey. Yo. Milton's hours back? I guess so. Only 4 hours. I don't think it'll make much difference. If it's okay, I'd prefer that you have them. Ashley's been enjoying having you around. Just Ashley? And me too, I guess. I'm pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude. Don't psychoanalyze me. Sit still for a minute. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist. Is this part of your ritual or just an excuse to hold hands? Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. It's usually a binding spell I use to make sure that doesn't happen, but run out of the reagents required and probably don't care about that. True. Alright? Yep. Give this time freely and without coercion. As above, so below, and retain the balance. Ow. I maintain the balance. That's it. How do you feel? I actually feel better. Feel less itchy? Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, you begin to up the balance, and as I understand it, doesn't feel good. Right, yeah. Why doesn't I get to stick around then? They just ignore it? Council are a special case. They're more similar to demigods or demons than they are to us. It's fascinating. Tell me about it. I've joined ages ago, but they're uptight packnecks. They don't seem so bad to me. Because you've not run into any of their ridiculous rules. Only regulations on manipulating life force and certain standards on the treatment of spirits. Gotta be a more inclusive term than human rights for all not quite human entities that are floating around. That way you gave me the hours back? Didn't I realize you broke the rules? No, that was all within the guidelines, despite his blustering. Gave them back because I felt bad. That's all. Oh neat, so you pity me. Love that. I'm actually really into it. No dude, it's not like that at all. You don't need to clarify, I get it. Seriously. Last day on Earth. Moving on. Fine, sure, sorry. Sorry, I've got to serve this customer. I'll help. Really, it's probably not a two-person job. Sometimes two people working on a task will be less efficient than one. Sometimes Sean doesn't care. Yep. Come on. Day 2, 6 p.m. Ooh. Anything else that needs doing? Nah, I'm gonna take this tray of glasses into the kitchen. You can go chill for a bit. Take them. You need a break. Sure. Where's the kitchen? That way. You'll find it eventually. Cool. Back in a minute. Your homes are nothing compared to the raw power of my castles. Rook and Castle both offer protection for the defending team, but Rook seems to be more popular. Nothing. Yeah. What's this then? Ah! A castle! Brought low by my own hubris! No, it was just a pawn. Maybe a little bit of hubris. For she's actually thriving, it's hard for him to feel like he's doing the wrong thing. Maybe that makes him overconfident, maybe it makes him just the right amount of confident. Bishop. Knight. Throughout the castle and check. trick, you say? Oh, I didn't think of that. You activated my trap card. Oh, hey, Maddie. Check this out. Tricked him into a false sense of security. Oh man, that's embarrassing. Is let her outmaneuver you that hard? Yeah, I'm very ashamed. Those real hubris was inside me all along. I friggin' love winning. Try doing this more often. Psst, chance win at chess. Could grow into a big winning streak, you know? Wanna play something with us? I should really head back down to the bar. Nobody there. Come on, take the load off. If anyone really needs you, they'll know where to find you. I'm gonna grab us all a drink, make sure there's nobody waiting down there, and then we play something. Won't be 5 minutes. You actually gonna come back this time? You never come back. I'll come back. Promise. Why don't you pick out a game while I'm gone? Let's find something, Ashley. What do you feel like playing today? Something... Something with lots of dice. Past tense of die is died, and the plural of die is dice. Dice it is. See you in a minute, Maddie. 6:15, Ashley's workshop. Are you playing Dungeons and Dragons? That's why the 4th reason to row Battle Royale was an absolute betrayal. Still want to be on it one day? Well, yeah. Once an indie circuit opens up. Like in wrestling? Exactly like in wrestling. Wellbourne's got a local show. I want something like that. You'd probably put your own local league together if you worked really hard. You have to build the robots and get people to battle them? Human-controlled robots are boring, though. I want to get more of that spirit juice and put together a bigger Ashling. Veteran necromancers will advise that spirit juice is not something to play around with. I just know that playing around is not the best way to learn. How big? I think I'll start at car size and move on to more of a bus-adjacent form factor. Not even sure we have enough to power one of those. You have to get Maddie to source you a large amount of it. We need liters of it at least. That'd be super cool. Didn't you say it was illegal though? Well, technically. But what Ned doesn't know won't hurt him. He'd lose his head if he knew half the things we were doing around here. Don't know. Seems fairly lenient with you, right? He wasn't always like that. Long time before he turned up, he nearly shut me down because Would you believe it's because I sheltered a criminal? I nearly shut you down because of that? Am I thinking of the same criminal you are? Trust me, the irony was apparent. Found it very, very funny. What sort of criminal were they? Just a minor demon on the run. Most demons are unlucky enough to find someone as welcoming as Shay. Especially the ones that haven't had a chance to make a name for themselves. I know what she did to get a price on her head. Took her in when she stumbled through the door, dripping blood everywhere. That's metal. It was extremely metal. How long did you manage to hide her for? Oh, not too long. Maybe 6 weeks. Time flew by, if I'm being honest. What is that? Was she from the Clock Realm? No, nothing like that. We, bonded. Magically? How'd you do that? I heard you telling Maddie that that sort of thing was impossible between beings on this plane. No, not magically. We were, lovers. Ew. Yuck. Ew. Happier days. I'm hearing about when you were young and reckless. Gosh, what do you think I am now, huh? Old and boring? Definitely old. By myself, I must say you're definitely not boring. There's that patented Maddie charm. Oh, you know me. I'm full of them. Oh yeah. Charms. Taxes, versus, and that's all in your account, old man. Won't deny it. Hey, Maddie. Hey, dude, having trouble finding the kitchen? Yeah, I couldn't. Checked everywhere. Just behind the bar, man. Can't miss it. Told you, I checked everywhere. Yeah, you're not catching my drift. Just behind the bar. You can't miss it. I know, look, it'll be there this time. Sometimes you gotta remind the quantum hallways that they exist. Fine. How long are we gonna keep him here, Maddie? Oh, are we keeping him? No, we're not keeping him. We'll let him stay as long as he wants. We'll leave on his own accord at some point. Feel sorry for him. Weirdly, yeah. Don't usually get attached to customers, but he's a good dude. I like him. You like him because he's nice? Because he was good at passing your tools over. Yes. Don't get too attached. He's not gonna be here forever. I know how it works. I'm going to enjoy having him around, just like you taught me. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Actually, it's from the motivational calendar I threw out last week. I never said that. Same. These people moving on. What's the point? You deal with it. Good. 6:30. Heck. You gonna keep staring at the coffee stain or not? Yes. Okay, whatever. What do you want from this conversation? One of them look, as far as matters of life and death are concerned. Yeah, I don't want to go. You've probably heard this from, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever. Given the amount of traffic the terminal gets and how long it's been open, 1,000 people is a pretty low estimate. What about staying around for people or wanting to go back to my old life? Wonderful and not stressful as it sounds, I'm not afraid of what lies on the other side. I don't think there's any point to worrying about it until I'm there. I don't think I've spent enough time here. Cafe? No. All this, I guess you call it this plane? Roughly speaking, I suppose so. I want to know what you did to be able to stay. Sure. Did I give you those hours back? Yeah? Why? Well, that's a way. You just find enough hours to stay as a spirit. Half here, half gone. But it's a wretched existence. Wouldn't want to look like that. How'd you find the hours, though? There's only so many you can get from consenting beings, right? Every psychology of gambling aside, you're right, yes. The question is, how do you do that? How do you create life from nothing? If there's that, you can't, Sean. It's possible. There's always gotta be some sort of balance maintained. Anyone who learns to manipulate the fundamental life forces understands that, no matter whether they're doing good or bad things with their skills. Here's the thing, though. You don't need both parties to agree. Just a social nicety, something that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. Where the idea of vampires came from, for example. Those guys. Not special or anything. Just peck necks. You know, if you can take the life force from people, you can also drain it from animals or plants. In this business, there's a lot we don't or can't understand. One of those things we can't understand is why life force from animals and plants is tainted. Feels gross. If it didn't, everyone would take it. Consequences be danged. How are you feeling today before Maddie took the hours back? I Felt like I was slipping away. My mind was really foggy. Scary to run when it's foggy. You don't know what you might be running towards. Really hard to think or put sentences together. Nobody really knows though. Typical. Imagine that. 10 times worse. You're foggy, but there's also something fundamentally wrong. You're a collection of puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together. Like an engine that's running out of oil. Sounds horrifying. Right? So, should I do it? Probably not. How would I say otherwise? Well, you could always go on the lam? Just run for it. But you'd catch me. Not me personally, but yes, council would, eventually. That's it? That's my only option. Perhaps. Depends on how you feel about bonding your soul for eternity to a fundamentally neutral arbiter of justice. The downside of neutral arbiters is that they're never on your side. I have no strong feelings about it, one way or another. But would you regret it if you stay here forever instead of moving on? I don't know, I guess that'd be up to me, right? What do you mean? In the end, how I feel about taking a big branch in my life is just a matter of how I frame it. I can focus on what I'll regret, sure. That's not a useful way to spend my time. Focus on the future. Everything that's in the possibility space, instead of outside of it. Probably better for me, yeah? Sure. You don't sound convinced. Just ambivalent on it. I don't think about it too much. But if you're willing to accept eternal bondage with the council, I can keep you here. It's not easy work, though. I have to act in the best interest of the system, not its individual parts. Bureaucracy at its finest. How'd you learn to deal with it? Just took some time. Get used to it, and learn not to think too hard about what you're doing. As long as you take a holistic view of everything, things generally shake out alright. Tend to only bother the biggest rule breakers anyway. Maddie being one of them. Habitually. Wouldn't be getting so much leeway from whether for Shay. I don't understand that guy. He's nice, we've chatted a bit. What makes him so special? He's provided services in the past. You can count on one hand the number of people who know as much about the manipulation of life forces as he does. He's been researching it for over 100 years. A lot has changed since the days when Shay was a young man. No way, he's that old? He looks like 60 max. Yep, much older than that. Wild. We're getting sidetracked though. How do you feel about joining the council? I don't hand out offers willy-nilly, you know. I'm interested, but I have some time to think about it? How much time do you have? You've been out for nearly 25 hours. You're overdue. Put it on Maddie's tab. Okay. Seem you're not going to stick around forever. Unlikely the next few hours are anything like how I felt this morning. Stick around until you have a solid answer then. Cool. Wanna get drunk? Or are you drinking, mate? Nah, Shay told me about something pretty special he's got behind the bar. If it's something really special, he's probably offered me some. And even then... So you've tried the... Wild Soul. On my leg. Nope. You've gotta be mistaken. You haven't seen it in person, have you? Yeah, I actually have seen it. That's quite illegal. I expected better from him. Dang it. So are we going to drink it or not? Council regulations require me to confiscate it or force the owner to dispose of it. And it doesn't steal anymore, he just seizes assets. Completely different thing. You're doing him a favor then. I suppose. Come on, dude. He said it'd knock you flat. And you say you, do you mean me, or you, or just anyone who drinks it. Anyone. Like 200% alcohol or something. That's not technically possible. I'll admit, my interest is piqued. Let's not waste any time. Dang it. It was a setup, wasn't it? Basically. You win? Fine. Oh, this looks deadly. The thing dead people can't get alcohol poisoning. Hey. Cheers. Bureaucracy. Yo. Your order's arrived. 3 days late, mate. I got held up by a mutual acquaintance of ours. Ah, shoot. That explains why he's in my hair. I'll be there in half an hour. Oh man, what's Maddie got up her sleeve? The catabasis is considered to be a vital part of the hero's narrative. Every hero goes to heck at some point. In the stories, they usually come back, which is a bit seems weird to me. I don't think that's how it works in real life. Cafe has had a bunch of heroes come through, claiming that they were going to conquer heck and come back. Never return as far as I know. The of catabasis is that, in the grand scheme of things, heck or the underworld or Hades or whatever you want to call it. Only, it's on the outside of wherever we are. We're trapped inside the sphere and we leave it to go to heck. Did the ancient Greeks ever consider that maybe we've been on the outside the whole time, just waiting to get in? Maybe they did, from our perspective. Let's ask one sometime if I ever meet one. Perhaps we're just waiting our entire lives for this. Pass through the firmament, the next place. We driftwood that washes up on the shores of whatever the next place actually is. It's weird, but maybe that's where we're naturally meant to be. I think it's possible that this world isn't some sort of proving ground or anything. Maybe it's just a waiting room. Beautiful, flawed, complex waiting room. Personally, I don't think there's anything like heaven or heck waiting for us. No judgment either. One doesn't ever operate in binaries or absolutes. Just flawed human thinking projected on things that are much, much more complex than they can ever perceive. I don't think that's what's waiting on the other side is even something that's we can conceptualize. That's cool. Gee, that's a one-way trip though. Alright. I don't blame you. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to stop blaming myself too. Oh, now we're outside. Now speak to Twan and Hannah to experience the side story walking into the sky. Don't know who those are, but okay. But either way, I think that's all the time I got the throat for. That's my throat's starting to get a lot more dry and all out of drinks, so guess that's where we'll end things off for today. So thank you to anyone that came by. Thank you to anyone that might have followed. My next stream should be on Friday, which will be our variety night. Awesome. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and raid Dana, who's playing some Persona 5 Strikers. Awesome. Yeah, again, thank you to anyone who stopped by. My next stream will be on Friday. So with that, I guess I'll see ya. Bye-bye!